Okay, it's still going. Oh, hi, you're right there. I mean, that's me, and that's you. but it just keeps going. That's what this game is. Like, all these maps are randomly generated. Are these colors changing? Hold on. Intense save. Alright, sorry. Did something with the lights. Make literally the preset's called intense. Okay. I went that way. course I did. Manage and maintain. I thought it said when there's less mirage to maintain. I did not expect that. Oh. That's like a beat, right? Okay. Let's try it. Is that what they call like a bar? Like that was like a bar? I don't know. Whatever. There's no way to get in here. Like, these maps are randomly generated, so... Or maybe there is... Okay, so I'm recording my my person. That's so weird. Oh shit, wait. I was gonna charge my phone with my tablet, but I don't have a cord for that. But my phone is how I'm being recorded, although I could do it on my tablet. But I don't want to. Let's see how much battery I have. I have 10% left. Let's see. Alright, I don't know, like, I'm gonna play real quick. Let's see if this is a healthy way to handle the predicament I'm in. You guys are my vibe squad. Oop. I didn't know this was a part of the game. I just found a new maneuver. Alright, I gotta figure my camera out. I guess I'll just plug it into the computer. I'm gonna grab you. Whoa. I will show you guys my thing. Okay. Like Wait, did it leave? Oh crap. It left. Did you guys see that? Okay, you probably did. Anyways, here's my microphone. And then it's like, here's how I'm keeping up with the stream. I'm using the monitor for like, so I can't, okay, here, I'm using the monitor so I can game. Okay, this thing's in the way. Yep. And then here's some like mythology. And some more LED lights. That's probably not fun to hear. I'm sorry about that. I gotta get a like shock mount. Alright, to plug it in to the PC so it doesn't die. Let's see. We have 9% left. Alright. That's pretty nice. I don't know if my audio levels are okay, so you guys let me know. I wonder if I have to do it here now. Oh, okay, it's still working. recline. Just like, I don't even need the mouse. I can if I want. Oh shit. Of course. It's that 5% still though. I'm probably gonna have to use my iPad. It's just gonna be easier. Alright, are you guys okay with me disappearing for a while? Wait, hold on. Like just to put my iPad instead. Oh, you guys can't see. Alright, so guys even watching? Oh, I think you are. Okay. Boop. Alright. Let's see. Oh, that's better.
mysteries of your own existence. We transform everyday life into a multi-dimensional spiritual adventure, simply by being the source of our own fulfillment, traveling in a brand new direction where only love can guide us forward, and to bring to life the clearest instructions that are only here to invite you home. They are 4 simple words that will now and forever vibrate within the eternity of your being. And these words are, whatever arises, love that. As we learn to love what arises, we not only create our own love revolution, transform every aspect of our life into the magnificence we came here to receive, to create, and to embrace. But we unearth the deepest insight of spiritual accountability. So what do I mean by accountability? What I mean is as we begin to realize that no matter how things are painted to appear, and no matter the interactions that seem to shape our daily experiences, that everything in our reality is a manifestation of divine will. And that whether we know it or not, the orchestrations, the encounters, and the outcomes are cleverly created by the universe, which is your true self. That on a very unexplainable level creates experiences so that what you feel in the presence of your experiences, or what you feel emotionally in the aftermath of your experiences, are showing you the very feelings. They're like children tugging at the pant leg of a parent, to be recognized as what's next in line to be loved, as it's never been loved before. Perhaps when fear arises, there's an impulse to either avoid it, to overcome it, even a spiritual impulse to transform it and transmute it. And yet, as we enter the heart of surrender, we recognize sensations of fear, moments of agitation, waves of sadness, grief, guilt, even jealousy, pain, or even the resistance you have to something in view. And these are all cleverly crafted manifestations of divine will that have been created as catalysts of your highest evolution, that simply like a processional line bring to your attention the next child within you, the next emotion that in the past may have been judged as bad versus good, may not have received as much attention as the feelings you prefer, as a way for you to unravel the judgments within you that help to dissolve the judgments in the collective for the well-being and evolution of all, are only arising in the aftermath of your experiences, to be loved by you as never before. And of course, even if you find an emotion that is too difficult to face and you can't seem to love it, it simply becomes an opportunity to love the one who can't. And so loving what arises helps us to unearth a big cosmic picture that is always at play, even in the most subtle or uneventful moments of your life. That everything created to appear in space and time is only appearing and feeling the way it appears to be felt, so that you can recognize that as an opportunity to step to the forefront of your reality, to join and harmonize with the light of divine will and to participate in your highest healing and transformation. That you accept that there is no other reason why something is encountered, or that anything manifests, but to notice however you feel in response to it. Whether it is resistance, discord, judgment, even fear, anger, or hatred. And to recognize that the mixture of feelings you are experiencing are like the children within your heart that have waited in line to be loved, but have unknowingly been passed over until they can act as appropriate as the feelings you embrace and wish to feel more often. So loving what arises is a way of unraveling the subconscious judgments within ourselves. And of course, what judgments we unravel within ourselves, what we embrace in ourselves that has never been faced, acknowledged, or honored in this heart-centered way, is equally melting the defenses, conflicts, wars, and opposition that appear as a world around us. And even as you begin to love your heart, there may be this sensation of not knowing that you have the right to love your heart. Or perhaps there's a feeling of, I don't know if this feels right. Maybe it doesn't feel authentic. It is very common that when you love your heart, it is such a brand new experience that your subconscious mind has no past experience of you being the one that loves yourself. And of course, if we look at how the subconscious mind is designed, the subconscious mind has two basic categories in it. It is the category of familiar and the category of foreign. And in these two categories is the recording of all of your experiences. And it records what you say to yourself most often, what others have said to you most often, what you say to yourself least often, and what others say to you least often. And if in your development and growth and evolution, you have either experienced a life where love was the most infrequent thing you've received, verbally and through the actions of others, or perhaps you were loved and embraced by your family, and yet in your own experience with yourself, self-love has become the most infrequent or foreign experience for you to embrace. And that means that self-love is still under the foreign category in your subconscious mind. As you begin to love your heart, the lack of authenticity or lack of resonance is just your subconscious mind's way of saying, you haven't done this before. And of course, as the co-creators of reality, we acknowledge that because we have not taken the time to love ourselves in the way that we deserve to be loved, is exactly why we're taking the time to start our love revolution and turn everything around. And every time you send an I love you to your heart, your subconscious mind records that as a vote, as a precedent-setting moment where you have loved yourself unlike any time in moments before. And as I love you becomes the most popular phrase you say to yourself, or perhaps a silent blessing that you offer to the beauty around you. One I love you at a time, I love you becomes the most popular and spoken phrase in your subconscious mind. And as that occurs, what was once under the category of foreign now is moved over to the category of familiar. And whatever is moved over into the category of familiar instructs your subconscious mind to give your physical body permission to emotionally resonate with those words and to translate the energy within that phrase into an emotionally and fully embodied experience that allows you to feel the love that you now feel safe and have given yourself permission to let in. And the miraculous thing is, as you begin to resonate and feel safe enough to allow your own love in and feel it through your emotional body, as your subconscious mind records it and tracks it as familiar versus foreign, it is at that point that the love you give to others through compliments, through acts of kindness, through deeper eye contact, and even just a smile, that allows the world around you to deeply receive and feel the transformative power of your love to the degree that you allow yourself to receive it and to awaken it within you. And so we are through this process, rewriting your subconscious mind, consciously deciding that since love is the highest vibration, we wish for the subconscious mind to be most familiar with the most powerful energy in the universe, so that our body can have permission to emotionally resonate and respond to this energy, which not only tells your immune system how to act as a living expression of that familiar frequency, but as you walk upon this earth, what your body now resonates with, based on how your subconscious mind has been rewired, you then become a living, breathing, conscious catalyst of love, just by being on the receiving end of your own loving gaze. Allows all to remember the grace of their true nature, to awaken the light within their heart, to melt all defenses, to end all fighting, and to dissolve all negotiating, and to step forward as unique expressions of spirit in action. And so perhaps we're beginning this journey, desiring to know the truth of who we are, wanting to feel the love within us. Unsure if it resonates, feels authentic, maybe it feels a little embarrassing, or perhaps in a moment of frustration we're wanting to feel it faster, then our body is willing to open up to it. And no matter what your experience is right now, of course, you deserve more love, not less. But let's take this moment to discover in an unexpected way how we can begin to rewrite the subconscious mind, how we can begin to resonate with the softness, relaxation, the vastness of love. That might seem a bit counterintuitive, but of course is only counterintuitive to the way we've been conditioned to think. We have been conditioned to think that I must be the knower, I must be the doer, I must be the one that gets things done. I must be the one that figures it out. As you hear the invitation to love what arises, I must be the one that loves myself. And we tend to push ourselves faster than the innocence within our heart is ready to respond and grow. And of course that just creates more discord within ourselves and causes our heart to stay shut versus to open gently. So let's try to discover an unexpected way to give your heart permission and safety to open up to the love that you are, while beginning the process of rewriting your subconscious mind so that you can resonate with the energy you're here to bring forth as a gift for one and all. So again, let's just explore and see what occurs, knowing that whatever arises in your experience is always true for what is meant to unfold. So please repeat after me. I don't know how to love the sadness I feel. I don't know how to love the fear I feel. I don't know how to love the jealousy I feel. I don't know how to love the pain I'm in. I don't know how to love the judgments I have. I don't know how to love the struggles I face. I don't know how to love the past I remember. I don't know how to love the people who hurt me. I don't know how to love those who ignored me. I don't know how to love those who punished me. I don't know how to love those who abused me. I don't know how to love the resistance I feel. I don't know how to love the doubt I sense. I don't know how to love the darkness within me. I don't know how to love the things I hate about myself. I don't know how to love what's here to be loved. I don't know how to love what I may never be willing to love. I don't know how to love the one who refuses to heal. I don't know how to love the one who can't forgive. I don't know how to love the one who refuses to grow. I don't know how to love the one that always thinks they're right. I don't know how to love the one that always seems victimized. I don't know how to love the one that believes they're entitled at the expense of others. I don't know how to love the one who's always in need. I don't know how to love the one who is always desperate, lonely, and never fulfilled. I don't know how to love the one who's never satisfied and always needs more. I don't know how to love the one who's afraid of having less. I don't know how to love the one who always thinks there's something to earn. I don't know how to love the one who just wants to go home. I don't know how to love those who have denied me. I don't know how to love the one who always has been denied. I don't know how to love the one who always feels unworthy. I don't know how to love the one who chases after what they want, only to push away all that is given. I don't know how to love all that I am. Because I don't know how to love. Which is why I'm here, entering the heart of surrender, learning how to love what arises. I would just like for you to feel the aftermath of that repeat after me exercise. It might seem counterintuitive to confess the depths of what you don't know, or what don't know how to do. And yet in your body there might be a profound amount of spaciousness, relaxation and relief, because as you confess what you don't know how to do, or what you don't know, that within you that does it all is called into action to do it on your behalf and to resolve through you what only the grace of your honesty can ever dare to confess. And as we begin this magnificent adventure of loving what arises, we free ourselves from our painful past, from all subconscious judgments, and open up to allowing love to flow through and transform all that is here, simply by confessing and admitting what we have found the courage to admit we don't know how to do. And now that we have admitted what we don't know how to do, now life can guide you in a brand new direction. It is why I'm so honored to be with you, to be the narrator of your own innocent heart, a messenger from the wisdom of your own soul. A reuniter of mind and heart. And your tour guide that step by step helps you across the threshold into the most exciting chapters of spiritual evolution. And through confessing what we don't know how to do, and confessing the love we don't know how to bring forth, provide, or receive, I congratulate you on taking your first courageous step. And on behalf of the universe, I say to you, welcome home, beautiful one. Welcome home.
Sounds True presents The Whatever Arises Love That course with MatKahn. Session 2, Your True Innocent Nature.
Perhaps even in the few first instances of loving what arises, you're already feeling the profound effect that occurs by being the source of your own loving affection. And no matter what your experience happens to be, everything is useful and a powerful sign of how quickly your life is meant to transform when you reunite with the innocence that dwells in your divine heart space. And when I say innocence, I think it's important for me to explain what I mean by that, so that you are able to become fully aware of that within you, that as you begin to nurture the innocent seeds of consciousness at the core of your being, it is able to find the confidence to sprout roots, to bust through the soil, and to bring forth the eternal fragrance that only you can bring to this world. So when I say innocence, it is as if I'm pointing to the innocent, or maybe the better word is the vulnerability within you. Are you aware that there is a vulnerability? Perhaps you would call this your emotional body. It is the part of yourself who simply feels. It doesn't understand what it feels. It doesn't need to understand why it feels. It just feels however it does. So if we can take time to become aware of that which feels. Maybe sometimes we're only aware of the emotional body or of the innocence that feels within us in the aftermath of disappointment or in the presence of insurmountable change or unavoidable pain. And of course, as everything is orchestrated as catalysts of your own evolution by the universe, it is not as if the universe is punishing you or trying to hurt you in any way. But oftentimes we feel the most uncomfortable feelings in our body. And of course, the situations that we're in are only orchestrated to bring us into more communion with the discomfort of our body. Because it is through discomfort that vulnerability is heard the loudest. And it's understandable that if you're only aware of the vulnerability within you, if you're only aware of that which feels, more oftentimes in negative circumstances than in positive ones, it would be no surprise why there would be some form of aversion to wanting to feel emotions if they tend to be more adverse than pleasurable. And of course, loving what arises is how we make peace with certain emotions, so that we don't have to walk around preferring to feel one way, when in reality we're actually just afraid of feeling the way we can't understand or even attempt to control. And in this process of loving what arises, we look to the honesty of our being, and we can even admit to ourselves, it's okay that I don't like feeling this, and yet it's here for me to make peace with it. Like a child that never acts the way I want it to act, or feels the way I want it to feel, and yet is as deserving of my unconditional love as all the children who behave the way I prefer. It's as if that which feels, the vulnerability, the emotional body that rests at the core of your being, as the center of the universe, depicted as your own eternal heart space, is much like the archetype of a child. And you are the parent that is learning to cultivate and bring forth the unconditional love of your true nature by learning to love that vulnerable, innocent, feeling sense within you, that no matter how convenient or inconvenient any feeling happens to be, whether your response to life matches the highest model of your most revered spiritual teachings, or you feel as if your life is imploding into a state of chaos and disarray, there is always an opportunity to recognize that which feels, that which is vulnerable, that which hurts, that which knows pain, that which fears, that which is sad, that which is lost, is only here to be loved, as only I can love it. And in making peace with all emotions, so we don't have to prefer one by avoiding another, we begin to awaken out of a world of polarity, out of a world of opposites, where we are tossed back and forth between the highs and lows of everyday life, where endless gains lead to surprising losses, where moments of joy are interrupted by insurmountable moments of despair. And yet now, with these teachings as your guide, you have a deeper understanding as to why you are feeling and facing what you are feeling and facing at this time in your life. That perhaps you are only destined to feel however you are feeling so that you can make peace with the emotions that you have tended to judge in the past as bad versus good. Perhaps you are only experiencing yourself as a character who encounters endless losses just so that you can be reminded of an innocence that is here to be loved by you. And even before you realize that this innocence, this vulnerability, this consciousness within your being that simply feels is only here to be loved as only you can love it, before we realize that, it is the job of the universe to bring your attention to the vulnerability that perhaps other people in your past have overlooked, ignored, abandoned, and betrayed. And it is as if the deepest understandings of what we call karma is that all of the moments in your past history, which are woven throughout your body, in your cellular memory, remember when you were overlooked, abandoned, silenced, dominated, betrayed, judged, ridiculed, ignored, hurt. And remembering how in those moments of despair, you wish that the people in your life could have loved you the way you wanted to be loved. Perhaps they were loving you in the greatest way they could love you, but for some reason it didn't feel enough at the time to give you the kind of acceptance and care that you required. And so every moment of reaction is like a cross-referencing system of your cellular body, that we don't have to face every single memory point by point. We don't have to go and dig up the past and relive these memories. Instead, what happens is that whatever emotion arises in your emotional body, whatever you're feeling in your body, is like a magnet that attracts all cellular memories where you felt that common emotion. Let's say that emotion is sadness. And in a moment of sadness, the innocence within your heart says, I bring forth all the clusters of memories when I was sad and not loved and supported the way I wish to be loved and supported. And I bring it to you, my eternal liberator, for you to love me in a way that I have never been loved, which gives the body permission to release out of the nervous system cellular debris and heal the past in a moment of transformation. And so this lets you know everything you're feeling is already healing. What is arising and being felt emotionally is already being swept out of your field, and by bringing your attention to that part of your body and responding to the innocence with I love yous, allows that cellular debris to be swept out of your field at a more accelerated rate as you conspire and participate with the will of the universe to transform your body into an aligned and awakened vessel of consciousness, knowing that what looks like one body that is transforming into a vessel of consciousness is actually an extension of all that is. And through what looks like your personal journey of transforming one body is actually the will of the divine transforming the entire universe through a play of interpersonal communication and momentary encounters. So when we love what arises and we reunite with our innocence, we are returning our attention to that within us that only feels whatever it feels. It doesn't know what you know, and it actually doesn't need or want to know what you know. It only wants you to be more attentive and loving and caring and thoughtful than the past was ever remembered. And even as you are receiving this transmission as I speak about it, perhaps you are feeling within yourself a state of relaxation. Whenever relaxation is felt, it is an acknowledgement that the innocence within you is actually feeling safe to come out of hiding, which will then create an opportunity for you to interact and increase your communication with it. And although it is the universe masquerading as an innocent child within your divine heart space, as you, the parent to this inner child, develop an active level of communication, then that child grows and blossoms into the master that you already are. But you are here to go through the evolutionary process to become the master that has always been. Kind of like a seed can know itself as a fully blossomed flower. It can even know its own eternal fragrance. But until it is planted into the fertilized soil, given permission to sprout roots, to be exposed to its environment and bust through the soil, only through the journey of blossoming can it actually become what it already knows itself to be. And so in this reuniting with our innocence, we are already the masters that we've always been, but we're here to consciously blossom into our true masterful nature, knowing that as an extension of all, the masters we become awaken the masters in all. And as we take our next step into the blossoming of our true masterful nature, into reuniting with the innocence within our hearts, to making peace with that which feels, and allowing love to be our response to whatever is felt, thought, or perceived, I'd like to share with you the journey that has brought me to where I'm at with you right now. Perhaps as I share my journey, you can see it as a mirror of yours, that you will find many similarities in my journey to things that you have experienced that you may not have realized were very distinct signposts of a spiritual evolution that has always been unfolding within you since the beginning of time. And even as I share experiences that might seem different from your personal experiences, without a need to compare our experiences against one another, I invite you to see me as a foreshadowing of your own evolution, and that what I am sharing with you is preparing for you to let in the experiences that will rewrite the course of history and help you reconsider the nature of your own existence. And just as I share these vivid, life-changing experiences that have shaped the course of my reality, I'm sharing them with you so that your innocence can feel safe enough to allow the supreme nature of your own power to come forward without causing it to feel afraid or intimidated. And of course, more importantly, allowing the innocence within you to allow the power to come out without feeling like the power that you bring forth will be the next thing to get all of your loving attention, leaving it behind in the process. And as I share my story with you, it is a story of mystical proportions, but it is a story of eternal innocence.
I don't know if I'm ready.
That since I can remember, from my very first memory, looking back, I've always been what we would call an empath. An empath is one who is able to feel not just what's going on in their body, but to feel the emotional activity of what is unresolved in the bodies of others around them. And as an empath, a very open empath, but as a child, I hadn't gone through the refinement process, so I had very advanced empathic, intuitive abilities, but they hadn't been honed and focused. So I was just wide open, feeling the energy of the world, feeling what is unresolved in the bodies of people around me. And the innocent oversight that I made was that I thought that what I felt in their body was actually their opinion of me. So I would go around as a little child, and I would feel heaviness in the hearts of others, and I would think this is what they feel towards me. And so I spent a lot of my childhood trying to cheer everyone up around me, thinking once I can change how they feel, then they're going to feel better about me. And instead I didn't realize that what I thought was their opinion of me was actually the unresolved emotional debris in their body that is a part of their spiritual journey. And in not knowing this, I grew up thinking or viewing myself through the eyes of others, thinking that I wasn't liked or accepted, while living in a world where everyone accepted me and I was the one who couldn't accept it. Because in my mind, if they accepted me so much, if they really felt that way about me, how come I don't feel their comfort around me? And I had no idea that their discomfort had nothing to do with me, had to do with the journey that they were on spiritually, and had to do with the relationship of how they were viewed or how they perceived being viewed by their family of origin. And so here I was, an innocent child, and every child I would meet, I would walk up to that child ready to be their best friend. And perhaps their subconscious mind would say, when we're that open, in my family, bad things happen. I get in trouble, I get punished. So I can't be that open because I have subconscious associations to that not being safe for me. And when they would shut their heart, I would feel rejected, not understanding what I was really picking up on. And I say this to you because perhaps you too are here taking this journey with me because you are an empath, not knowing how to make your way through a world where you might be inundated by the unresolved emotional heaviness by others and not knowing how to stay in your own field of experience, how to hold your own space, how to stand for the consciousness you're bringing forth, and too distracted by what other people are resolving. Oftentimes in our families, we feel the blockages and barriers that rest within the heart of adults and family members. And we sometimes subconsciously think that the barriers and blockages that we feel in their hearts are their inability or desire to love us unconditionally. And we're picking up on what's unresolved in their journey, and we're thinking it is a lack of love that we're receiving for them, which could lead us to feel as if maybe I'm not worthy enough for their love, or maybe I haven't worked hard enough to earn the love that I'll only know that I've earned when their heart feels different in my presence. And of course, what we are innocently doing is blaming ourselves for other people's experiences, because all we know is I don't feel what I wish to feel from them, and I'm going to do everything in my innocent power to free them of their burdens so that there's nothing in the way of them loving me the way I want to be loved. And so the majority of my childhood was spent trying to resolve that emotional turmoil in every heart. And if I couldn't resolve it or cheer them up, I took that to mean that I wasn't liked or good enough. And I say this to you to free yourself of blaming yourself for the journey of others. And of course, when we feel affected by other people's burdens, when we feel limited by what other people can or can't provide us, it is only a reminder that we deserve more love, not less. And yet, throughout my journey of childhood, woven throughout this very intense, empathic journey of not knowing how to make sense of what I felt around other people, people that would tell me they liked me, but the feelings of my body told me something different. Woven throughout all of that were a lifetime of very vivid mystical experiences. I remember my first memory as a child when I was 6 years old. And I was 6 years old walking to a friend's house down the street. And there's a little brick wall dividing my friend's house from our neighbor's property. I remember at 6, I walked by this wall and it caught my attention. And I stopped in mid-step. And And I just stared at this wall. And in my mind, I heard a voice say, I am not this wall. I am not this body. I am the space between it. And of course, at that age, I had no idea what that meant. It felt as if sometime in the future, I will know what this means. It felt significant. But at 6 years old, of course, I didn't have the maturity or awareness to become aware of what that insight was revealing. And of course, I
Do we know what it means?
to play video games.
Do we
And
know
then
what it
when I
means
was,
now either?
Let's say 10 years old. Sometimes numbers and years are very fuzzy for me. But my next vivid spiritual encounter was actually one of the most life-changing experiences that I'm so pleased to share with you. I remember going to sleep one night like any other evening, and I closed my eyes, and I instantly found myself in the most beautiful, breathtaking garden I had ever seen. And as a child who was raised in the malls of America, never really having an affinity for nature, the fact that I was so immersed in the glory and the perfection of this garden really caught my attention. It was as if the colors of this garden were so bright and vivid and beautiful. It was as if the colors were overflowing with the love and an ecstasy I had never felt in my life. My family, of course, were very loving and attentive and did everything in their power to love and adore me. And yet, for some reason, the love that I felt in this garden felt so much different from the love that I had ever received. It was as if for the first time in my life, I felt seen, I felt safe, and I knew that I was home. As I walked around, getting familiar with safety, which for me wasn't always a very familiar experience due to the amount of empathing I would do with people around me, I noticed in front of me was a field of waist-high flowers. And I began to maneuver and walk through this field of waist-high flowers, and I could even feel my legs trying to push through this big, thick field of flowers. And then I suddenly realized that while I could feel my legs trying to push through, I was simultaneously hovering above them as well. I couldn't explain how I was having this simultaneous experience, and yet the love in the garden was so immense, it didn't actually matter. As I hovered above the flowers, about 20 feet in front of me was a figure in all white, wearing a white robe with dark long hair and a dark beard. And that being motioned me towards them as they hovered above the flowers as well. And I just froze. I wasn't scared, but I didn't know what to do. And then suddenly I began to spontaneously float towards this being. And as I got about 5 feet from this being, I saw their eyes were glowing with such pure white light, as if their eyes were just overflowing with this vibrant light of love. For some reason in my young mind, I thought of like scary horror films where people would roll their eyes up into their head. I don't know why I thought that, but when I did, it almost broke the state of the experience, and immediately I felt myself fall through the garden. I then fell through the sky and fell back into my body. And only when I fell back into my body did I realize I had left it. And I was shaking, I was freezing cold and sweating at the same time. And out of the corner of my eye, in my doorway, I saw the same figure outlined in a chalky white energy, which I would later realize to be etheric energy, the energy of how spirits materialize in our world. I saw this figure in my doorway motion me towards them, and I looked directly at the figure and it disappeared. The next morning, I was most excited to tell my parents about this experience. My parents, who luckily have had experiences of spirituality and are very open-minded. And I shared this experience to my parents in amazement, which inspired my father to tell me at the time a story of what happened to him nearly 40 years before my experience. And he went detail for detail and told me his experience, which nearly matched everyone that I had 4 years before mine had occurred. At that moment, I didn't know the significance of he and I having these similar experiences. But at that age, I started to realize that there was something much bigger unifying us all in reality. There is something much bigger than the play of our everyday lives, and that which is bigger than our play of everyday lives is actually, of course, playing throughout our everyday lives. And I just started to sense the awe and the mystery of existence. And from that experience forward, that became nearly my sole focus and interest. I would begin finding myself being drawn towards books and libraries on every subject imaginable, from UFOs to ESP to anything paranormal. And as soon as I would open these books, it was almost as if a shift of energy would occur that would cause me to remember the feeling I felt in the garden. So it was almost at that age that I would just be drawn towards things that reunited me with the energy of the garden that so vividly and powerfully transformed my life. I remember the day after that garden experience of leaving my body occurred, I went to my friend's house. And as I was walking to his house, out of my peripheral vision, I could see on both sides of me 3 different figures on each side made out of that chalky white material. I spontaneously knew those were my spirit guides that were here to walk with me in every breath and to assist me in my life's journey. And I knew that without knowing what that actually meant. And I began to know without knowing why I knew what I knew. And I began to be drawn towards anything that created an energetic shift and opening that helped me remember the energy in the garden that I had instantly fallen in love with. And I went into my friend's house, so excited to tell him about this experience. And on the living room wall, there was a painting of this man with a white robe, dark hair, and a dark beard. And I said, that's who I met in my dream last night. My friend said, Matt, you didn't meet Jesus. And I was raised in a Jewish family, so I really didn't know or have any context for who Jesus was. And I thought, well, I don't know anything about that, but I can tell you that's who I met. And there was an irrefutable knowing that no matter what anyone was saying, I knew that that was who I had encountered. And there was a love that I felt that has been with me ever since and has guided my every move and direction from that young age until now. And even I sat there watching my friend be so weirded out about this experience, and I thought, did I break some cardinal rule in the universe? Am I not allowed to celebrate Hanukkah anymore? I didn't know what was so strange about my experience, because my experience was so natural, so loving, so liberating. And it was a moment where not only I felt love and safety, but I was completely free of the heaviness of empathing other people's emotions. And so, of course, I went on with my life. I enjoyed the ups and downs of adolescence. I did my best to try to fit into the world while being completely absorbed with 2 distinct questions that, since that garden experience, have always rested at the forefront of my attention. And those 2 questions are, what is real and where is God?
Where is he?
And as I went on with my life,
Sorry.
it wasn't until I was about 18 years old where all of a sudden the guides that I could feel around me, that I even spent many years forgetting were even there. Because once you get so used to something being one way, it almost disappears out of your reality. At 18, the guides that were always with me began speaking to me. And they said, you're not who you think you are. And my first response was, who are you? And that became a process where I would sit in my bedroom day by day, meeting different angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters who would introduce themselves to me, who would help attune my intuitive abilities of hearing, seeing, and feeling to refine them into such a precise way, helping me understand the infinite mysteries of my own existence. And of course, it was always to be trusted because it came with it. Each one came with the love of the garden that has never left me. And on a daily basis, I'd meet different spirit guides and different angels, and they'd all bring through different messages. And I remembered thinking, this is what I came to learn on this planet. This is what I want to focus my attention on. I could sit here all day and learn about this. Intuition, healing, and energy. All of a sudden, I wasn't a kid lost in an empathic world, caught up in the heaviness of others. I was an innocent soul, playing in a cosmic playground. And as their messages evolved, and as my consciousness expanded, and as my abilities grew, all of a sudden, I'd find myself in the most unexpected locations, being guided to spontaneously deliver messages to those nearby. I remember I was at a grocery store once, and a guide would step forward and say, please tell this person next to you this specific message. And I was so petrified. What are they going to think of me? Are they going to think I'm crazy? Do I think I'm crazy? And there was a feeling in my body, literally like, if I don't share this message, I feel like I'm going to explode. And so just to relieve myself of this pressure, I would talk to the person and say, hey, I don't mean to bother you. I have a message coming forward. I'm told to tell you this. And their reaction was as if I touched the deepest part of their innocence, and a moment of spontaneous healing occurred right there in the grocery store. And I walked away thinking, okay, there's something to this. And yet each and every time I would do it, I would get the same response of relief and transformation for anyone I was guided to approach, and I couldn't be more petrified by the process. And so this led to many instances of being guided to go here, talk to this person, say this. It's like playing baseball and stepping up to the home plate, putting a bat in your hand, not knowing what to do with it, and someone throws you a ball and all of a sudden your body swings and you hit the ball out of the park, and everyone's celebrating, congratulating your effort, and you still don't know what you're doing. For many years, this is how I lived my life, just following the flow, following the guidance, only because it carried with it the vibration of the garden, and that became the only reliable thing I could trust. In a new realm of spiritual exploration, where I had no idea what was going on, all I knew is what to trust, what felt right, and people seem to be getting a lot out of what I'm here to offer. And even after all these experiences that I'm sharing with you, in my personal experience, I don't actually believe that my spiritual journey began until I was in my mid-20s, and I'll tell you why. Because here I was, a very empathic child, with, some could say, very pronounced intuitive abilities, many vivid experiences of awakening and transformation that many to this day continue to try to chase and pursue. And yet, in my mid-20s, I had this very clear realization that no matter how many mystical experiences I had, no matter how deeply I could feel into the people around me, no matter how clearly I could transmit messages that could change their life, that actually wasn't a benchmark for my spiritual evolution, because I began to see that despite these abilities and despite these experiences I was having, I was still very much fighting and negotiating with life in the same way that those who hadn't had my experiences were still fighting and negotiating. And so it helped me to really realize and put into perspective, yes, I'm having some very vivid spiritual experiences, much like the ones I know that you have probably had, whether or not you kept your intuitive abilities open or decided to shut them down at an early age. to feel safer around your family. Despite those experiences, I knew in my heart I could not define myself by my experiences in the universe, but that I needed to establish a new spiritual benchmark, and that it was actually how often and how likely I was to fight and negotiate with life that really showed how deeply I trust in the faith of the divine plan. And as I began to share these messages publicly and play the role that produced deep healing and transformation for others, I remember talking to the universe one day, and I said, may I be a conduit of awakened consciousness. May I heal what is unresolved in all hearts, and may I bring forth what will finally satisfy my desire to be the one I already am. And within a few days, the answer came unexpectedly. And it came with 4 simple words: whatever arises, love that. Now, based on my open communication with the universe, I could have very well asked for some clarification. But what's so interesting is that when you have an open line of communication with the universe and you can call upon your guidance in any moment, the most extraordinary experience is often just to feel your way out. It's kind of like forgetting the end of a movie you've already watched just so you can experience it for the first time again. And so I didn't really want to know what they meant by that. I just wanted to kind of test it out and see how I would perceive it, and just to see what would reveal itself naturally. And so I just took these words literally: whatever arises, love that. And I walked around my neighborhood. I literally saw a flock of birds fly by, and I thought, well, that got my attention. That's arising. And so I said to the birds, I love you. And part of me didn't know if that was right, but I just followed the energy. I followed the impulse, the love of the garden that was inspiring me to go in this direction, especially knowing my lifetime of mystical experiences couldn't actually be the extent of what I was looking for, because it was the love I felt at a young age that I always wished to embody, not only for the well-being of those lives I was here to touch, but to reunite with that which made me feel safe. And so then I continued walking around my neighborhood. I even saw a city worker who was using a jackhammer at a construction site, and it startled me. I thought, well, that's arising. Love that. And so I sent an I love you silently to that city worker. And I continued to simply send love to anything that got my attention. And as I did this, I began to see every form, every person, place, or thing as like works of art on exhibit in the Museum of the Universe, where I was both a visitor, loving and embracing the exhibits on display, as well as a work of art on display as well. And the more love I sent to whatever captured my attention, the more I felt in my own being the love of the garden coming alive. The more I felt into myself as an innocent expression of divine will and not a person in search of it. The more I loved whatever would arise, the more I realized myself to be life's eternal liberator instead of a person waiting to be liberated from life. And I began to quickly see that everything in my life and any life was only orchestrated by the highest intelligence of universal.
Money, Skippy? Hello? Can someone? Oh, thank God, Andrew. I was gonna do that, but we don't have any. Oh, shit. Thank you, Andrew. Oh, shit. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. Holy shit. I need 4 boys, Skippy. Money? Money, is that you?
Yes, sir.
Money. Money, do you have VR? Is there anyone else going into VR with me, or is it just me?
I don't know.
Zob, thank you for the follow. Yeah, money's in
Cody
here.
and Skippy are ready.
Where's Skippy?
He's in chat. I don't know.
Can you guys join level 3? There's Skippy.
Cody's back.